I don't like telling this story. Wish I could forget it. Um, I worked cleaning attics for about 15 years. It's a dirty, lonely job. The houses are often empty and very old. That was exactly the case when I got to work that day. As soon as I pulled up, I started feeling something was off. It was an old Victorian-style house on a completely overgrown property, full of trash from vagrants or neighborhood kids. There was even one of those creepy, old, turn-of-the-century metal kid seesaws in the yard, totally rusted. And as I looked closer, oddly mangled. I stepped up to the front door to unlock it with the key my boss gave me, and I discovered the door wasn't even locked, which is not a good sign in a vacant house. Could mean squatters. I step in and try to make my presence known by shouting that I'm here from the attic cleaning company. No response. I do a quick walk through and the place is filthy. Trash, mini booze bottles everywhere, but thankfully no one is here. Got all my gear into the house and climbed the ladder into the attic to scope out the situation. As I push open the attic entry, I see a white mesh of cobwebs which I have to swipe away. I stick my head up there and it's clear no one had been up here for a long, long time. It's a mess. I notice an old doll on the ground, about 3 feet away. Weird. Maybe a kid was playing up here at some point. So I throw the doll into a box and prep the area for cleaning. As I move deeper into the attic, I hear a clunk sound behind me. Something just dropped. I turn and suddenly there was a doll head on the ground. A different doll than the one I just put in the box. It sounded like it fell from above, but there is nowhere it could have fallen from. Just roofing slats above. Now I'm getting shaky. What? Did I just hear laughing? Maybe there are kids next door. I grabbed the doll head and tossed it into the box as well, when I heard, unmistakably, a growl. Is there an animal in here? I swing around toward the sound, and I see another old doll against the wall. This one is really dirty. Hair is a mess, matted, dress is soiled. Its mouth is smudged, like it had been eating or fed something. Its eyes are closed. It's standing straight up, like someone leaned it perfectly against the wall. All of a sudden it felt like 10 degrees hotter in that attic. I was sweating and cursing this job. But I'd never left a job undone in 15 years, and I wasn't going to start today. So I moved quickly and grabbed the dirty doll by the head, palming its ugly face in my gloved hands. I'm about to toss it into the box with its ugly sisters, when I feel an intense, pinching pain in my hand. Something sharp is piercing my glove into my palm, and something is clamping down on my ring finger. I throw the doll at the wall, hard. Did that thing just bite me? Maybe there was a spider on it I didn't see. Maybe that's what bit me. I don't know. I stare at the doll laying on the ground. Its eyes are open now. I thought dolls' eyes were supposed to close when lying down and open up when standing. This doll was the opposite. I'm feeling insane and sweaty at this point. I think I'm hearing things.
Hello, Daddy.
What? Whoa, where was that? Who said that?
I'm sorry I didn't clean my room, Daddy.
No. These dolls looked way too old to be able to talk on their own.
Why did you leave me here, Daddy? I'm hungry.
No, that was it. This job is over. And I start backing out towards the exit when I hear something scraping along the floor to my right. I shine my flashlight toward the scraping sound and see dust billowing like it was just disturbed. Like something was just moving. I keep moving towards the exit, but the voices are getting louder now.
Daddy, I want to eat something.
I flinch and I step backwards and trip over my vacuum hose, losing my balance, falling back towards the attic entry in the floor, scrambling to grab the sides so I don't fall all the way back down. I could have broken my neck just now. That's it. I was done. Not worth the money. I gather my gear and get out as fast as I can. As I'm loading my truck, I notice several neighbors watching me from their windows. I knew something weird was going on in this house. I still can't get that voice out of my head. I haven't told anyone this part, but sometimes on the weekends I'll go to estate sales. And I'll buy every doll I see. And I take them home. And I make a big fire in the backyard. And I burn them. I burn them down to ashes. And I throw them in the river. Wash away the evil. That's my gift to the world. You're welcome.
Honey, is it okay if I record this? Yes. Thank you. Go ahead.
This is anonymous, right? My mom told me this story when I was a kid. It was so weird. She had to be drunk or something because she never mentioned it ever again. When she was a little girl, I don't know, she was probably 6 years old. She slept upstairs with her sister, and her parents slept downstairs. And she had a lot of nightmares as a kid, so she was always getting up in the middle of the night, but she was not allowed to go downstairs. Her parents said, whatever happens, just stay upstairs. Don't come down, bother us. And it wasn't a big deal because her sister was in the room, so, she wasn't alone. Well, one night, she had, a really, really bad dream. And she woke up, and her sister was gone. She was not in the room anymore. She was supposed to be sleeping in the bed right next to her. So she walks out into the hallway, and she thinks maybe she's going to the bathroom or something. And she looks up at the ceiling, and those little squares that are in the ceiling that you can open up, you can push up, and you can go into the attic? It was open. And there's no ladder underneath, but it was open. And there were 2 legs dangling down, like little kid legs. Like there's a little kid sitting there. A small child sitting in the attic with their legs dangling down. Not moving. And she said at first she thought, why is my sister up there? And she called out, Sarah! Sarah! What are you doing up there? She called to her sister. And when she called out, her sister called back. But the voice didn't come from the ceiling. It was coming from back in the bedroom. Her sister was still back in the bedroom. Her sister had never left the bedroom. And when she looked back, the legs were gone. And the attic was sealed up. It wasn't open anymore. And then, from what she told me, she just went back to bed and she never talked about it again. Except for telling me the story the one time. And I've tried to ask her questions about it, but she does not want to revisit that night. This is just my theory, but I actually heard from my dad. Because my dad knew my mom's family growing up, that their house was really old. And that a neighbor said there was a young boy a long time ago who used to like to play in the attic. But there was the old knob and tube wiring up there. The wiring was exposed, and this kid died. My mom never made the connection, but I've always wondered if that's whose legs she saw.
Yeah, so this is a weird one. My older sister had a house about 10 years ago, small house. You know, she was recently divorced and lived by herself. And she got a great deal on this small little house on the edge of town. She's making a new life for herself, and she loves it. But over the course of a few months, she starts to notice some strange things. For example, she would cook herself a pot of soup, and some of the soup would be gone before she even ate it. She kept a well-stocked fruit basket, and her apples were going missing. She went to take a bath and noticed the tub was already wet, water on the floor, even though she had not used it. Very strange. Oh, and she found an egg broken on the floor, but couldn't remember taking out any eggs that day. How was the stuff disappearing and getting moved around is very weird. Oh, and there were dirty dishes in the back of the dishwasher that she didn't remember using. It's like she had a roommate that she couldn't see. Someone's using all her stuff. Very, very creepy. I remember she called me, and she was actually afraid she was developing early dementia due to the stress of the divorce and that this was all forgetfulness. Maybe she forgot she was eating the eggs or the soup or taking a bath. This went on for months. Then, one night, when she was almost asleep, she heard the toilet flush by itself in the next room. This startled her awake, and she was clamoring to get out of bed and see what was going on. When she got to the bathroom, there was no one there. But she heard creaking and thumping above her. She looked out in the hall, and the attic entry on the ceiling was open, which alarmed her because she had never opened that before. She called the police, who arrived a few minutes later and found a homeless man climbing out of the gable vent on the side of the house and into a tree, trying to escape. It turns out this man had been living inside of her attic the entire time. He had a sleeping bag, stored food, a little radio up there. When she would leave for work every morning, he would come down and make himself at home, helping himself to all of her things. When I heard about this, I told my sister to move out of that house immediately. How could you continue living somewhere where you were being watched constantly? I myself could never relax knowing that there could be an uninvited guest living above me in my ceiling. Well, my sister is a kook with a massive heart. You won't believe this part. She contacted the man after he was arrested and invited him to live with her again, this time in the spare bedroom. She helped him get back on his feet and get a job at the local grocery. I can't make this stuff up, but that's my sister for you. I guess a creepy situation turned into a happy ending for everyone.